running a little bit behind, because we're just these masters at tech,
Yes. Feel this.
um, Good morning, everyone. My name is Amy Bacon with Spiritually, Physically, Financially Fit with Bacon. I'm also sell real estate in Alaska and Texas. And today, my guest is Greg Luxak. And it's not with a Z, and I just pronounced it wrong,
Blue
but
check. That's all right, Amy. That's all right.
and anyways, he's going to be talking with us and talking and helping us, succeed in real estate, giving us, his nuggets, that makes him successful. So you guys tune in, and we're not going to be on TikTok live today for technical reasons, but
I don't have a
we'll
TikTok.
share this later. Technical reasons. Um, anyways, so if you want to know, the lighting is causing me to have cobwebs. Still, I've got
Yep.
to
In
find
effect,
ways
I'm in
to
the
figure it
library.
out. And so, because it's Halloween this week, I thought it would go perfect. So, anyways, Greg. So Greg is my friend from Colorado Springs. He's an amazing realtor. Not just an amazing realtor. He's a really nice friend, and he even let me cook at his party. Got to cook steak and potatoes for his friends, and it was amazing. And oh
That's
my
high
God.
praise, Amy. Thank you. Yeah, you really did that up. That meal was above and beyond. That was pretty cool. Thank you.
Oh, it was an amazing party. I just loved it, and got to meet a lot of fun people there too. And so he has fun friends, and yeah. And my biggest memory is you letting me stay at your cabin out there, and with Ninja and the campfires and being out there is just really really nice. And Colorado is beautiful. Don't
Yeah.
take it personal, but I don't miss it, even though Texas people love Colorado.
That's one
So
of my favorite things about Colorado Springs, especially though. It's just like you could be in downtown Springs and then like in 45 minutes you're out, in Florissant or my cabin or wherever, and it's just like totally different, like lifestyle completely, which I think is super cool.
yeah, that is. So Greg, tell me your story. Like, what shifted for you to go into real estate? Like,
Yeah,
tell me the beginning, or tell me a little bit
yeah,
about you.
yeah, absolutely. So I
Yeah.
was grew up in like San Francisco Bay Area. Was kind of unmotivated and sort of uninspired for a lot of my youth. Um, Throughout my 20s, had a kid really young, kind of was in survival mode for most of my 20s, and kind of stumbled upon real estate at 30. And it was just like light switch. Like I found my calling, I found something I was good at, I found something I really enjoyed doing. I found something where I got to work for myself. I was a terrible employee for most of my 20s for sure. So, yeah, I just love the industry. I think it's just a really cool and easy way for entrepreneurs to express a business mindset and get into entrepreneurship without um, yeah, without having to build a huge business. I think brokering deals is obviously super fun. Um, yeah, it's just the best. It's just the best. So I've been doing real estate since 2009. Um, Started a team in 2017. Have sold a bunch of houses. Really, really enjoy it. Um, yeah, just really love selling houses and really have committed my existence to kind of honing my craft in that way. So, um, yeah, that's kind of my
And
story.
you have a team in a brokerage, and you have a lot going on. Um, I know when I was
I'm
there.
having a little less going on, honestly, right now. I'm working on kind of restructuring things a little bit for a little bit more profit centric, so we can kind of talk about that. I think over the last
Okay.
few years, I really like built out a brokerage. Um, I don't know. We can kind of talk about that, the entrepreneurial and the brokerage model when it comes to real estate. I think maybe as we get into it a little bit, we can kind of dive into it. But I think it's an interesting time and kind of um, yeah, figuring out how entrepreneurs and realtors should kind of structure their businesses is sort of unique right now. Um,
Let's talk about, well, maybe let's just talk about like what happens when it shifts. So what do you do? Because like sometimes we're making money, where everything's booming and the phone's ringing, and we saw that a few years ago when we've seen a lot of real estate agents come in, and now we're seeing a lot, thousands and thousands just going out the door trying to find work, right? So what happens? What do top producing realtors do when things go? Oh no. Oh no,
yeah.
there's not a lot money's not coming in easy. What do
Yeah.
we do?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of points there to dive into. I think for me, the first is like I never look at it as an up or a down market, honestly. I look at it as we're doing one of two things. We're either the market is moving a little bit faster and we're selling houses and we're bringing in cash and capital and we're having closings, or we're taking market share, right? If the market is moving a little bit slower and stuff isn't moving quite as easily, there's a lot more opportunity for us as professionals to kind of step in and show our professionalism. So I think from that perspective, the market is either, like I said, you're just drawing market share, you're drawing, deals and closings. Um, from a brokerage perspective or from a team lead perspective, it's really challenging when it shifts because I don't think um, it's just difficult when you're fronting for like I'm going to clean a house and stage a house and video a house and photo a house and maintain a house and landscape a house. When it sells in 30 days, it's way different than when it maybe sells in 6 months, right? So I think the bills can start stacking up a little bit differently when the market slows. I think the biggest misnomer, and I've heard this a lot, when the market shifts, it's like, oh, Amy Bacon, you have so much business, like you're good. It's like, well, no, Amy Bacon also has way more bills than the regular agent too. So a couple of slow months hurt way more than, an agent who might be counting on one closing a month or something. So I think there's kind of a misnomer that people with big businesses don't feel the shift as much, and obviously that's not at all true. We feel it sometimes worse, right? Because we have to feel it for us and other people as well. So,
Yeah,
um,
because you have full-time cleaners, you have full-time stagers, you have a warehouse full of furniture. I mean, you got people that you staff that are ready to go, like cleaners go, stage,
everything, yeah.
all that.
Handyman, the staging items require a warehouse. They require a mover to move stuff from this house to the warehouse and back. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of little costs that come in, and your overall um, expenses start to pile up, as you know, where you're just like, holy cow, I'm spending what a month going out? Like, I gotta sell
Yeah.
some houses. Um, yeah, it's interesting, and the brokerage model, I think, especially over the last couple of years, we've talked about this offline a bunch, but over the last couple of years, the brokerage model has just like it's getting continually squeezed more and more. With these cloud brokerages that are doing business online, it's just really difficult for any brick and mortar to compete, on cost for the agent. So it's an interesting time in real estate. Certainly, time with a lot of opportunity, but um, definitely unique. It's shifting all the time right now. Absolutely.
Yeah, and whenever things shift, we just have to go with it. I remember, years ago, this is before I got in real estate, because I got in real estate like when you did 2008. And, I remember people saying about, uh, you know, the internet. When the internet came on, people literally
Right.
sold real estate with the book. And then they're like, oh my God, the internet's coming on. We're not going to have jobs, but it actually made everybody more money, right?
So the internet made it different to where a buyer would come to you to buy a house. Even 20 years ago, a buyer would come to you to buy a house, and you're showing them everything, right? And unless they drove in front of a sign in front of a yard, they didn't know about the houses for sale, right? And so you
Yeah.
were like introducing everything to them. I mean, nowadays it's like I get a call from a buyer and they're like, "Hey, this house has been on the market," and I'm like, "Oh, I missed it. Oh, it's been on the market for 2 minutes." They're getting alerts from so many of these online platforms.
Yeah.
It's like our buyers are finding the houses before we do often, right? And so
Yeah.
we obviously need to continually find different ways to exercise our professionalism for sure. So I think the internet obviously is a huge. All of a sudden, then we saw a huge advent of like online buyers where we're competing against corporations that have never even seen the house that are buying the houses. That was huge. Now, obviously, uh, I think we're a very interesting time where Zillow or any of these online platforms are kind of like taking our listings and then selling our leads back to us at like what I think is a crazy price.
Yeah.
$1,000 a lead is insane to me. It's just an interesting time right now, right? And we're seeing also with some of the lawsuit last year, I think we're seeing sort of differences in some of the states and how commissions are even negotiated um, and assigned. So yeah, it's definitely it's a unique time. Things always change, but I think that's something we all need to get used to. I think things are moving faster than ever uh, with everything going on, and I think just we need to get as entrepreneurs we need to get used to change for sure. I think it's going to happen
Yeah.
a lot more rapidly in the future than it even did in the past. So um,
Well,
Yeah,
you
absolutely. I think our
got in.
business is going to continue to change.
I'm sorry, what'd you say? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, I think our business is going to continue to change uh, even more rapidly over the next few years, for sure. Which
I
again
think
presents
that
a
you
lot of.
got to get used to the change. You got to get used to change no matter what in life. You have to shift with it, not oh my God and become a victim. You got into real estate when I did. When I got in, look, God's telling me go, Amy, it's time to go. And literally, I'm going to work, and I tell people I'm a real estate agent. I was so excited, I passed the test, all this. And people are like, oh, are you okay? I mean, it was not even a glamour thing. It's only glamour
Yeah.
when you have a really good 1 year market when it's super great or whatever. But it was like almost like it was a bad thing. But I will tell you
Totally.
that coming in a market like it is now, where you have to actually get up and you have to work at, networking, you got to build relationships. If you're going to last in this, and you can disagree with me or not, but building relationships is where it's at. It's not about buying a lead or whatever. I mean, you can buy that as extra stuff for your team or whatever, but at the end of the day, I can tell you my phone rings, and my phone rings because of the relationships I built, and learning that in the market coming in 2008, 2009, when everybody was, it was falling apart. It was just horrible. Can you relate to
Yeah.
that?
So to me, I think one of the big challenges is um, like in 2019 when homes are selling super fast. If Amy calls me to sell her house and she ends up selling it with somebody else, it's really difficult for me to show you like Amy, like I know you got 20,000 over asking, but like I would have got you 25,000 over asking. That's really difficult for you to show your value. The nice thing is right now in this market, it's like, hey, my other realtor couldn't sell the house. You sold it. It's really easy to adopt that client that maybe couldn't sell their house with their previous realtor or their previous like website that they tried to save money selling with or whatever. Once they can't get the job done and you can come in and get the house sold, like that's your client forever. So the good thing about this market is, to your point, you can build really loyal clients that appreciate you and your professional service, right? It's a little bit harder to show value when everything is flying so quickly. So there's some benefits in this market too. I actually think any realtor who is thinking about like jumping off the fence and getting in the business, like now is the best time to do it, honestly, because now you actually can build your database for a market that has a little bit more movement.
Yeah, and showing your value. And I think that's at the end of the day, a lot of times, well, because of the commission structure change, I don't know about you guys, but I'm seeing where, a lot of times people are devaluing real estate agents like, oh, that's a lot of money. They don't realize how many hours of day, how many months we put into it. I mean, every once in a while we do get stuff that's easier. Usually it's not lower end. A lot of times it's higher end stuff that, well, a lot of times that make it things easier. Not all the time, but it is. But
I,
go ahead.
I,
Got a drink for a
yeah,
minute.
it's obviously it's commission sales, so you're going to have some deals that you don't do a whole lot of work and you get a great check. You're going to have a lot of deals that you do a ton of work and you don't get paid anything, right? So that's something to balance out for sure. Um, it's interesting. The first
Yeah.
thing that kind of came to my mind is I've had actually like even referrals from other realtors. And it seems like even other realtors aren't even valuing what realtors do in a lot of circumstances right now. So part of that is like, as as things kind of shift, and I really think right now, like when we got into the business, I remember there was always a huge adage, and it was like everybody believed in it that 80% of the business was done by 20% of the realtors, right? Like we've all heard that, like that was big in 2009, 2010. I think
Yeah.
it's getting way closer to like 90-10, where 90% of the business is getting done by the top 10% or even more, right? And so it's taking a little bit of time for some of that cream to rise and for our clients to um, get more educated and kind of understand a little bit more what we do and appreciate more, what we do, the professionals do, right? And so um, I think part of that is on us as realtors. I think a lot of people got in that treated it like part-time work and didn't treat it like real businesses. And they kind of got away with it even for a little bit. And I also think it's up to us as professionals and as entrepreneurs to just get really, really good right now over the next couple of years, like get really, really good at expressing your value proposition to where your clients can hear it and digest it, right? I think them understanding the stuff that you do is more critical than ever. I think uh, 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 detailing the process and like getting good at communicating to your clients all the stuff that we are doing during the week,
Yeah.
all the marketing pieces that we're doing. Like if you don't tell our clients about it, a lot of times they don't see it, and so we need to get really good at you know like I said, right?
Yeah, showing them that we're on their A team, that we got their back all the time. And I tell
Yeah,
my clients a lot of times, you may not see me, you may even see my social media going things on, doesn't mean I'm posting it. Okay. I tell them, I was like, we do a lot of stuff behind the scene, not just one, but
a
some, we
lot.
have a team of people that are working for you to get things closed. And a lot of times we don't even tell them when we have a problem because we want to get it solved and let them have a peaceful time
Sure.
all the way through. And
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. That's a really challenging thing. We're always like trying to like toe that balance between how do we completely empower our client and let them
yeah,
in on everything that we're doing and have them being just like such an active, educated participant in the process
yeah,
while not freaking them out, right? And not like
yeah,
putting too much drama on and stress. So that's always
yeah.
like the challenging thing about being a realtor. It's going to get that skill is going to get more and more valuable moving forward because who we're competing with in a lot of circumstances are these online brokerages and these online um, the companies that want to come in and just streamline the process and do it for cheaper, but they want to do it, they want to get both side commissions and title and lending, and if they do all that they can sell your house for X%. The transaction's really sloppy. The transaction is really sloppy. I think that's one thing that
Yeah.
really has struck me over the last couple of years as I was sort of building out this like huge brokerage and doing all this stuff. I thought I had a really good idea that strengthen numbers, we can really do all of this. Um, I don't know. I really almost think the transaction is just too sloppy to like systemize, right? It's too, the Carvana where you pick up your house through a vending machine. The transaction is too sloppy between seller and buyer. Like you really need somebody with bedside manner and communication and education and experience and creative thinking and all of these things to kind of get
Because
through it.
people
I
are
kind of,
manipulators. I mean, I can tell you recently I had a deal where it was a negotiation deal and somebody brings in their family. And this is really old school. And I want to just share this because if you're still negotiating it, gaslighting somebody, if you have an experienced agent, they're going to pick up on it. You can only play a game where somebody repeats themselves over and over and over. If you're repeating yourself over and over and over to somebody and they're still acting like they're not getting it and they're an educated person who's
explain that
gaslighting
more.
you. Go ahead.
Yeah, explain that more. Like when you're in a
Okay.
negotiation. Like yeah, like tell me a little bit. Don't name names or whatever, but like I
Yeah.
think that would be helpful if people would hear like, because I do think negotiation is a lost tactic, and I do think people are kind of like, um, so a tactic I get that I think is super annoying is like they'll call you like, hey Amy, I want to buy the house you're selling. It's got this wrong with it and this wrong with it and this kind of sucks. I'm like, why the hell are you buying it? Go buy a house you like if you don't like it, right? Like I hate that tactic. Like if you don't like the house, there's plenty of houses. Buy another
I,
house. But
I'm like that too. I'm like, oh, that's a time waster. Or, oh, recently I had one was like cash buyer calls. Oh yeah, it's going to be an easy deal. Oh yeah, I never seen a cash deal where it was an easy deal. I mean, they go through like, oh, I've got cash. It's going to go faster. It's going to faster. I go, no. And I tell my client, I go, just because it's cash does not mean we're going to close faster. A lot of times cash buyers are not us. They got to be knocking on me. I know you, some of my investors on here, but and they're not all this way. But a lot of times they come in and try to manipulate you like, and this one person was like, oh, it's easy when a realtor is not involved. Oh yeah, of course it's, look, I'll get my little attitude here. Of
yeah, yeah,
course
yeah.
it's easier when you don't have a realtor involved because we've been doing this for so long. We've done so many transactions. We know when you're trying to steal from the seller. And I have it, I tell my sellers like, hey, this is what's going on and this is how this guy's manipulating us. And if you have a good agent and they're negotiating for you, they're going to see through, oh, this guy, he's just trying to take. He's playing the game. So if you know this, a taker takes and a giver gives. And I can tell you, if you don't have, if you a giver, you really need a realtor, okay? And not just any realtor, because some realtors just want you to just sign the paper and go. You want somebody who's going to fight for you and treat you like your family, a family that they like. Yeah.
Well,
So
and like we're seeing a lot of those, Amy. Like I'm seeing a lot of those in Colorado locally with like sub two offers and stuff like that. we're getting a lot of calls and a lot of offers for like creative wraparound mortgages or subject to
Oh, yeah.
financing. And our clients don't know really what that means. They're like, oh, that's an offer on the house.
Yeah.
It's pretty dangerous, right? And so they need a little bit of protection and education in that way, obviously, So, yeah,
You're
absolutely,
talking about
absolutely
whenever
that.
they go, I think this happened with one of my clients, and actually I get tons of emails of all these people trying to, oh, buy it right now, cash. But really what they want you to do is quit claim your title. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, quit claim your title to your house to them, but you still have a mortgage on it. Okay.
Exactly. So
And
you
so,
keep the mortgage in your name. I'm going to put the title in my name, right? And so
yeah,
I'll make the payment. Don't worry about it. It'll be great, right? And it's
yeah.
great. But what happens a lot of times is these guys have a vacancy longer than they'd like to have, and what they end up doing is they collect your rent to make a different mortgage payment, and before you know it, they kind of get sideways, and the mortgage isn't getting paid, right? And they're like, "Oh, we'll catch up, this and that," and so you don't have title, and the mortgage isn't getting paid. That's
What'd you
the
say?
worst.
You don't have title. It's
Right.
not in your name anymore. It's not even in
Correct.
your name anymore. So
Correct.
think about that when you're going, I'm gonna sign my title of my house over to somebody, and it's the mortgage is still in my name. And so if these people are not paying you and they're not doing what they said they're gonna do, you're gonna have to go to court and sue them and fight for them. It's not even it's not in your name. It's no longer your house, but you still have this 400. Go ahead. Yeah.
Totally. So 2 points off that, really quick. 2 points off that for our entrepreneurs. Number one, if you're looking at doing that, if you're at all looking at doing that, even if you think it's a good deal to do some sort of a sub-2 mortgage or anything like that, put it into a trust where the trust has clear outlining of how the money gets split when it gets sold. So it's like if the person doesn't make a payment, it drops out of their name and back into my name. If the person misses this or is late a couple times, it goes out of their name and back in my name. If we sell it within this amount of years, I get X amount of the profit. So you can structure a trust a little bit easier. So you can throw the property into 123 Banana Street Trust that might, have some rules at least that are a little bit more protective of the seller. When you just give them your title, you give away all of your protections completely.
Yes, yes. That's good stuff,
My
Greg. I'm
point, my
glad
other
you
point.
shared
Okay,
that.
my other point that you mentioned, I think you said something huge. I don't think enough people understand that. The contract, is any contract like needs to be interpreted in court, right? And so it's something that you can take with them, but I think what you mentioned was huge in that there's a huge difference in I'm suing somebody versus I'm getting sued. If I have the money and you have to sue me to get it and you have to prove your case for the money, that's totally different than I have to go sue you to get it back. It's totally different, right? And so I think
Yeah.
too many people put themselves in a position where they give somebody possession of the house or they give somebody possession of the cash or whatever the asset is, and then they're like, well, I have a contract. Okay, cool, but you got to sue me and you got to prove it to get your piece. That's not the same, right? So that's why they say possession is 9/10 of the law, and I see it over and over and over. Like our contracts, cool. They are something we can take to mediate over earnest money. But really, they're just kind of like, does the person want to close? Does the seller and the buyer want to close? Because ultimately, that's what we need. You know what I mean? I think too many
Yeah.
people get a little bit too caught up in like the detail of the contract and I'm right and they're wrong and they think they're right and you're wrong.
They're trying to
I think
fight
the lawyers get paid
or
off
be in
that.
control. Yeah. They're trying to fight and be in control instead of getting everybody to their goal. Yeah.
Exactly. We're not trying to sit here and like fight over uh, this uh, uh, these words in a row, right? Like we're trying to get the deal closed. We're trying to get the deal closed, and we're trying to get the deal closed. Everybody happy. So the contract is a way that we can obviously communicate what we're trying to do and where we're trying to get there. But um, I've just seen so many deals where a realtor's like 100% sure that they're in the right and they didn't miss a date or they had it, and the other side is 100% right. And honestly, it's usually some area of gray. It's really not as like you're right and they're wrong typically. So I think that's a really big point. Anybody who's in entrepreneurship, like just really understand the idea of possession, right? And understand, I think so many people threaten lawsuits and it's like, oh my God, I don't want to get sued. If you're in the right, you're doing the right thing. You shouldn't have a problem standing up in front of a judge and making your case, is how I always feel. So anyway.
Correct. Correct. I've seen in over the years, like, sometimes you give and you just go, okay, you're just going to help this person or take it. But, when you're right, you don't have to get thousands of people with you because you're right, And so I agree with that. Know who
So
you
a
are.
case that I'm seeing, yeah, but a case that I'm seeing a lot now is like, I have a mutual friend of yours, Amy, and I refer you your own client. That's just like a really gross, that's a really gross trend. So like, let's say you and I are mutual friends. I'm a realtor. I talked to our mutual friend John, who's a client of yours. You bought and sold houses with John before, and
Yeah.
John's like, hey, what are you up to, John? Pretty good. I'm actually moving pretty soon. Oh, cool. Yeah, you're gonna sell your house. Oh, I'm gonna call Amy. She's great. Let me set it up for you with Amy. It'll be like, when I set you up for a month free at the gym kind of thing. And now I'm referring you your own client who you bought and sold houses to. That is not a referral. Okay. And I'm seeing more and more agents, instead of getting clients and selling houses, try to make a living doing that. And I'm, as just like somebody in the business, I'm like, that's super gross. It has to stop. That's not a referral. And in that case, for example, I'll close the deal. They have to sue me for the 25%. I'm not going to pay them the 25% and then try to sue them, for example.
Yeah. It's kind of like how you do anything is how you do everything, is what I say. It's like having
True.
ethics. Treat people how you want to be treated. Do you want to be treated like that? Yeah. So I like that you touched on ethics a little bit. People need to be, treat people right. Yeah.
Well, and just as realtors, we really do have a code of ethics that we're supposed to adhere to, live by, and respect, right? And yeah, I think
How
realtors
about
need
like keep
to.
your word? I tell you, I have more calls into the brokerage of like, okay, here I go again. They're just lying. They're not keeping their word. I mean, here we are in the transaction. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. What we do have to go through is that literally have to go get the laws, copy paste them, put in the email and say, this is what the law says. And that's the other thing, is that you want a real estate agent who knows the law, who's going to represent you, who's going to negotiate, who's going to fight for you, and know when you're right. Because if you don't, you can get a bad realtor who is going to manipulate the law or manipulate things so they can take advantage of the seller and or the buyer or whatever. And so you need to have somebody who knows the law and they're protecting you. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I do. We have a weird position in that, like, we're not like lawyers where I get to go just like kick the other realtor's butt and then my client's not guilty and we win. Like, the
Yeah.
other realtor has to win for us to get a successful transaction, right?
Yeah.
Like, we both have to win. So in that way, it's a little bit different, just in that, like, we're trying to, it's different, right? Like I said, we got to know, we have to be protective of our clients. We also have to be able to present our clients' needs to the other agent in a way that the other agent knows how to sell it, right? Because we're playing a
Oh,
game of
that's good.
telephone. We're
That's
playing a
good.
game of telephone, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how you're going to pitch the deal to your client, but I know, hey, Amy, guess what? We got this house sold. Like, the offer's great, the buyer's awesome, the closing date's perfect. The number's a little low. We got to work on it, but we'll get it figured out. That's a completely different pitch than, hey, Amy, I have an offer, but don't shoot me. It's low. You're not even going to like it. I have to send it to you by law, but you're not even going to like it. That's a totally different pitch, right? And so,
Says that.
again, like,
Says that. Says that.
you would be surprised. Like, you'll have clients that'll come in, like, and you know how they are at the listing appointment. I'm not taking a dollar less than this or this. And so the realtor, I'm not taking a dollar less than 500. And so the realtor has an offer at 480, and maybe the realtor is afraid to pick up the phone and call their client. Maybe they're afraid to sit down face to face. Maybe they're afraid to sit down and reiterate what the value is of the home and why this offer is maybe not as far off as they should consider, right? And so I'm seeing a lot of realtors, and I think it's super disturbing, but I'm seeing a lot of realtors pitch offers to their clients by emailing the offer and texting the clients that they have an offer. And now it's up to the client to become an expert and diagnose that contract, understand what the value proposition is, understand the strength of the buyer, all of that all at once. I see that way more than I should. way more.
So what do you
So
recommend? Do you recommend sending an email and a letter and telling it or calling them? How would you recommend to, and how do you teach your agents of what to do to sell that so you can have a win?
yeah, I'm trying. So our contract in Colorado is super long. It's like 30 pages, so stuff can get hidden in there. But I'm really trying to like use the contract um, as much of a communication piece as possible. So I know for sure that the seller has to get the contract. And so for like us in Colorado, we've got that additional provision section that we can kind of get kind of free form with. I'm speaking pretty frankly and pretty openly in that section. So I may even write in something like, buyer is awesome. Buyer has a credit score of 800 plus. Buyer has been at their job for 60 years. Buyer's blah, 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 will be an awesome person for the community. Okay. Hey, buyer really likes the house. Buyer really wants to get a win-win, really likes your house, really like wants it, but here's some of the comps we found. This one sold for this. We think you're like, I'll be very like free form
Yeah.
and not legal speak on the contract now. I'll do the same on inspection contracts. I'll do the same on other amendments like that. And so I'm changing my dialogue a little bit in that way, and I'm trying to use the contract as much as possible. Just again, the days of like I meet you for lunch to pitch you the offer, and I've got the earnest money stapled to the offer. That's not happening anymore, you know. And so I don't get the opportunity to sit down and be like, look, Amy, we love the house. Here's the comps we're looking at. We think you're a little high, but the buyer really does love the house. Can you please pitch this in a way that they're not offended? And we can have an open dialogue and maybe work through it, right? That doesn't happen anymore. It's
You
emails
just
back
pitch
and
it
forth.
where
And
they're not offended.
a lot is getting lost in translation now. It's challenging. And with the market shifting, I think buyers and sellers both kind of think I think buyers and sellers both think they're in the driver's seat. You know, sellers always think they have the product, they have the beautiful house that you want. And right now, buyers definitely want a deal, and they're getting a little bit of sticker shock with the payment for sure.
I can tell you when I get multiple offers, the thing that I do like, I like it when there are realtors who put everything at the top. Like, here's the main things. Here's the price, here's the closing costs or no closing costs. I'm not asking for this or that. So then it helps me quicker to go through it. I got a general idea. I'll tell you what I do. I send a net sheet because I find there's a lot of realtors, not heavy hitters usually, but because there's thousands of realtors, like you said, there's 10% who do all the work. Or a
As a
lot
buyer's agent, you send the net sheet to the seller.
that,
As a buyer's agent, you send the net sheet with the
yeah,
offer to
I
the
do.
seller.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
I do the net sheet and I go here from the title company. And so every state's different. Okay. So in Texas, I had the title company do it because they just like doing it. They just have time, I guess. Alaska, they're so backed up that there's not enough title people. I just do my own there. But I do the whole closing cost sheet. And then and of course, I don't know what they paid for their house or anything like that. But I go, here's the closing cost for the seller, for the buyer, and I send it over.
Hopefully they can do the math too. Like, hey, 300,000 equity. I owe 200 on the house. Cool, 100. I mean, you know, but that's better.
Yeah.
Like you said, that's better than nothing. I do notice a lot of the newer realtors, the inexperienced realtors. That's another bad.
They mark everything. They mark every closing. I mean, it depends on, which state I'm talking about. And Colorado's different too, but they'll just be marking up. They want all these closing costs. In Texas, you don't do closing costs. Alaska, there's a lot of boxes where you just check off which one. They'll just be checking off things that's not even part of that, mortgage or that finance program, because they don't know.
They're not doing the net sheet accurately, or they're not even sending their seller. Like the seller at the closing table is the first time they understand their net proceeds. That's not cool.
Yeah.
So you as a buyer's agent kind of taking the leap and doing that is helpful. And hopefully you can also show like, hey, look, I want to illustrate to you the power of like, we're not asking for concessions, or yeah, we asked for some seller concessions, but we buffered into the price. So look, you're still netting a number, right? Like, I think that's really good. I've seen some cool offers come in like with videos where there's a video message on it. I've even thought about like linking a video to the contract, like for a video explanation of this offer, click here. And I almost think the seller would almost like highlight it and click there, and maybe it's a video. Yeah, it's interesting. It's more and more. I love that idea. That's a good nugget.
Yeah, I like to do that. And I took a class one time where they were saying that you cannot man, I can't remember if it was in Colorado or where it was talking about VA, and I don't know if you can help me with this, or even maybe Clint or somebody could, but they're talking about you can't send a letter, like an emotional letter. I lost you. Hang on, guys. This is getting good. Hopefully he'll be back soon, and hopefully his internet didn't go down.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I was like, oh, did your internet go down? We lost internet on you.
Access video. It said it quit on me. Let me see. Video. Oh my gosh. There we go. There we go.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was trying to remember. Was that when I got my military residential thing in Colorado? I think it was in Colorado that I got that certificate or whatever. And it was talking about you can't send a letter, like an emotional letter or whatever, to the seller. You can't send a letter with
Interesting.
your offer.
Interesting. Yeah, I've seen more sellers say like, "Hey, we're just not accepting any letter or anything like that." Um, I've definitely sent some like explanation of offer letters, especially if it's a situation where, maybe the offer is a little bit unconventional or something like that. I may write a letter like from me, not the seller, maybe that just, hey, just want to explain the offer, a couple benefits of this offer. We're going to be looking at doing a whatever, right? Lease back or allowing it, post occupancy, pre occupancy, anything that's kind of out of the box. I want to make sure the seller is like very clear on what they're getting because yeah, that can be challenging for sure. So
Yeah. And
some
sellers,
love letters can get a little silly, but I definitely think it's important that the seller understands the value proposition of the offer for sure. I don't know what happened
yeah.
to my effects. Sorry about that. I had technical difficulties.
And I find too is that when I get a lot of offers, I'm wanting to know, can your lender close? And this is, and I'm going to tell you, I've seen this so much, and I really want to address this so much this past year, where I've had multiple offers, and the lender's calling me. They call me personally, like, oh, hey, I'm blah 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 blah. I've also seen this where they go, I'm getting to the end, and a lender can't close, and this lender says, oh, but I can close it. I can do this. I can do this, and look, a week. Multiple times it's happened to me, and I was so frustrated. Feel my anger here. So frustrated. But I remember that on the list, because when we get into multiple offers again, I'm going to remember that you lied to me. And so what they'll do is say, oh, I can do this and I can close in a week. So they get it. You move everything over there, and then they can't close it in the week. They go, oh, it's going to take longer. And I go, but you told me you could do this. And they're just lying, trying to get the deal. Or they just, wasting your time because they're saying, oh, they can do it, but they can't, so I'm,
Do you think it's that, or do you think the lender, like, I'm not sure if it's that, or, and lenders have told me like, no, it's so streamlined. There's no like individuality in packaging the loan. But I almost think some lenders like they'll kind of put together the loan and they'll send it to underwriting. And once underwriting kind of like red tags it and has a question, we keep sending in documentation for that, but it keeps giving more and more questions with everything we send in. You know what I mean?
I think
So
that they
sometimes I
think,
think it's
oh,
like how
well,
another
maybe,
lender,
yeah.
knows how to package the deal for less questions. I don't know. I don't know. I've
Yeah,
thought about that
I
myself
think
a
that too.
lot.
That like, oh, they're not going to ask me on this loan. I'm going to put it through, and my underwriter's not going to ask for that, and then we're going to be able to push it through. I mean, I've seen that, and it was on an occupancy contract where somebody said they were going to occupy, but they really weren't. And so then at the end, the lender required them to sign something saying that they were going to occupy, and because of their whole package, right? And then
Yeah.
that client refused to sign it. Okay, so then they went to go to another one and try to push it through the same way, and it didn't happen. They're like, oh, I can close it in a few days, and it didn't happen. And they're like, oh, that never, the lenders never ask you to sign something that you're going to occupy at home. Okay, so they do, and at the end, at closing, you sign something saying that, in your
Yep.
100,000 documents, you got to sign.
For sure. Well,
Yeah.
so yeah, the other thing I'll say is like for realtors, anytime there's anytime there's one of those deals where it's like just a couple more days, just a couple more days, always like I need to know the worst case. Like if it's a week, give me a week, and if you can close in 4 days, great. But like, don't tell me 2 days, then another 2 days, then another two. Like that is the worst, and it starts breeding resentment between the buyer and seller and the agents like so quickly. And so I'm always like, if we need to push a closing date, like give me the bad news once. Hey Amy, it's going to be 10
Yeah.
days after closing. Really sorry. This is what we're going to do. We're hoping to close in 8 days, but let's plan on 10. I'd rather that than
Yeah.
I need a 2 day extension, another 2 day extension. Guess
Yeah.
what? Another 2 day extension. That is the worst. So, yeah,
We
give us the
keep
give us
having
the
those
give us
fierce
the medicine
conversations
at
with your
once.
client, and it's very stressful. And then you're not keeping your word, and then your value is going down because we're delivering it. I mean, that's just how it's getting delivered.
Exactly. It makes you a liar to your client because you're
Right.
relaying their message, right? You're like, no, you got to give me the whole. You got to give me the whole deal. I also, not to pile on lenders. Obviously, a lot of them do a really great job and they have a difficult task.
Yeah.
Um, I always wonder. I'm like, you couldn't get it closed in 35 days, but all you need is 2 more days. Like, what are you gonna get done in 2 days that you couldn't do in 35 days? You know what I mean? So that's
Yeah.
always just a red flag to me. If they don't have a clear explanation of like why they need a couple more days, I'm always just sort of like, it's a red
I've seen
flag
it early
sometimes.
on in my career where it's every 2 weeks. I'm such an interrupter. Sorry about that.
No,
Uh,
no, me too.
every 2 weeks, every two, well, you're just used to me. So, every 2 weeks, like they're going to delay, delay, delay. And I've seen it where they delayed. And then kind of find out my client had lied on the contract. And so when you lie on a contract, I want to say this because I was talking to my broker. I was like, man, we got to talk more about risk management and stuff. Is like your clients need to know that if they lie on the contract, it's called mortgage fraud. Okay. If you don't use a realtor, this is why you need a realtor. Because if you you go get a for sale by owner, like, hey, you go through me, I'll cut the realtor off. Like I'm gonna do my little, my little hood stuff here. Cut the realtor off. I'm gonna put 20,000. You can put 20,000 over it. We'll close. I'll give you $20,000 back. It's called mortgage fraud. You can't do it. I know that sounds so amazing. Cut the realtor out. We'll give you that fee. I promise you, you can go. National Association of Realtors will tell you that if you use a realtor, you're going to make more money. And the stats overall, I'm not saying 100%, but you think realtors know how to negotiate. I'm not saying all realtors, but they know the comps. They know how to fight for you. I've had it where I've had to go to the appraiser and say, hey, this is why. I had one where it was so unique. I get a lot of unique stuff because I specialize in remote stuff in Alaska. So I get unique properties and I price them. And then the appraisal comes in and it's like, hey, and I go, no, well, this is why. If you have a good realtor, who's, doing their job, they're going to look at the appraisal, they're going to go get comps, and they're going to go fight for you on every single thing. And it could be like some system that's inside of that house, that one little thing, so you got to know that there is a lot of value in having realtors, is because we've seen so much. We also can go in a house and go, yeah, you really got to go have that check because I've seen this and this happen. That looks like a structural issue. That looks like, in the lower 48 from Alaska, lower 48 has a lot of like creatures, things, inside there, where Alaska, we have more like earthquake stuff. And so, there's all these things that we've seen so many times. We've seen, home inspectors call so many things. We've seen appraisers come in. We have seen appraisers appraise something and they didn't even know what they were doing. Okay. They're all over the place. They don't even have the right. You got to know how to read an appraisal too, because they don't even have the right bedrooms, bath, or anything on there. So if you want to make sure that you have somebody who's taking care of you in all those areas, and realtors bring a lot of value, and you may not see it like, you think that, buying a house is like going and buying a piece of candy or a Snickers bar. It's not like that. There's so much more. And think about this. Is that when you're buying this is like a 30-year mortgage or 15, but most of the time it's 30. Okay. So it's a big purchase. You want to take your time and you want to find somebody who, look, not just that they're a realtor. You need to find somebody that you can go, oh, okay, you know what? I just made this really bad mistake. Oh my God, I just bought a car. Oh my God, I just bought a car and I just found out I wasn't supposed to do that. And instead of you hiding and afraid to tell your realtor, I tell my clients this: come and tell me. Don't you go, oh, we got to back out, go hide where I can't find you. Go tell me, even if you make a mistake, and let me go find your route. Okay? Or let me go help you, which we're problem solvers. Let's go get you somebody else. Or let's see if we can refi that vehicle. Give us 30 more days. We'll get you closed. You got to get a problem solver. That's where the value comes in. Go ahead, Greg. I know you're thinking of something.
Yeah, in that way, we're lawyers. Like, even if we know you're guilty, we're still like on your side for sure. So in that way, we got your back. So you got to be transparent.
Yeah.
Um,
And get somebody you can be transparent with.
yeah, absolutely.
Be a
Absolutely.
team
And hopefully,
player.
and hopefully as realtors, we're prioritizing creating a safe and comfortable environment that our clients do feel like they can be open and honest and transparent with us for sure. Yeah, it's interesting. I do think like the realtor value is going to be going up a lot over the next over the next few years. And again, especially if you're in that top 10%. To me, I think there's a little bit of an issue with our clients. Oftentimes our clients are just calling us when it's time to sell our house. And I think a lot of the time, most of the value will come from like, hey, Amy, I know like my kid's going to college. I know I got to downsize the next couple of years. When would be the best time for me to do that? And now Amy can coach you on when the best time is to get the most money for the house you're buying and get the best, or get the most money for the house you're selling and get the best deal on the house you're buying. And sometimes she'll maybe even advise you to wait for 6 months, and the best timing will be in the future to upsize or downsize. To me, that's a lot of the value that like you said, those are hours and time that you invest and your professional expertise that you're sharing, and we don't get paid for it, and we're totally okay with that. But like, I know you feel the same way. Like, our clients need to call us all the time, and we can offer so much more support than just, let me stick the sign in the yard, it's time to sell, right? And so part of that, again, is up to us as the professionals to really express to our client base like what we do, what tools we have available, and what support we can offer. But as a whole too, our clients need to take advantage of our expertise a little bit more. Real estate's challenging. It's one of those businesses that like everybody kind of thinks they understand. And so everybody kind of knows enough that sometimes it can get them in trouble a little bit. So just always reiterating, like lean on your professional services. And I definitely think as realtors, I think we're going to pick up more and more market share over the next few years with people who maybe started buying houses over the last 5 to 10 years that on their second or third transaction, their first transaction went very easy or went smoothly or whatever it was, but now it's time to sell that house, take all that equity, and now disperse it into the next house. They're going to need a different level of professional for that transaction. So I do think over the next few years, as the market kind of shifts back a little bit, the good realtors are going to have plenty of clients that are going to need really good realtor professional services. So again, a lot of opportunity in the market for us, for sure.
I was thinking something I've done recently, because I do projects where I remodel homes for clients to get them ready to go on the market and stuff. And if you have, when you're having conversations, deep conversations about the house, what I've done is if you can, if your clients allow you to record it, it depends on the state, because some of them you don't have to, it depends on the law. But you can ask them, record it, and then let ChatGPT organize it for you, and then itemize it out, and then keep, a binder or whatever, or even keep it online. And so you're keeping a track record of your conversations, and then you don't forget. Because I know as we get really busy, and as we know, what goes down, even living long enough, goes up all the time. And to be prepared, I think utilizing ChatGPT or whatever, I don't know, what are you using these days? Are you using ChatGPT to anything in the business or with your team? Or are you guys using a different one or anything like that?
So ChatGPT, I've been really good at like being an organizational tool. So like I used to, on my rentals, for example, use like a dummy lease that I would fill in. Like, I'll just have ChatGPT build me a lease really quickly. Like, build me a 12-month lease at this amount of money on this property. Amy's the tenant. They can build that stuff faster. Business plans, stuff like that. Like, to me, ChatGPT is really good at like organizing and you know what I mean? Like organizing your thoughts that you already have.
Right. But doesn't have wisdom. And you have to
Right.
be really careful about asking it something because it's picking it off the internet and the resources are wrong because I tell it all the time that you're wrong. It doesn't have
I
wisdom.
found
So you
that
have to
too.
be
I
really
found that too.
careful
That's
about
important
that.
to note.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
wrong a lot. It'll fill in stuff and you're like, that's not right. So that you have to be
Right.
careful about that. I think
Yeah.
document was the word I was looking for earlier. Like as we're as realtors documenting our
Mhm.
process, you can have a notepad. You can just, like you said, write down the conversations you had, write down the marketing efforts you had. Hey, I sent an email, made this social media post about your listing. I sent this email to all my realtor friends about your listing. I sent this email to all of my clients and my distribution list about your new listing. And then ChatGPT would be phenomenal about formatting that into like a weekly update of all your activities, so your client knows everything that you're doing, right? Like their
Okay.
formatting stuff is fantastic, right? So I think
Like
from
that
that
because then
perspective,
you know that you're working for them because sometimes they don't realize how much work you do. I always
all the
tell
time they
my
don't.
clients, don't worry until I worry. If I start worrying, then we got something to worry about. But I always tell them like that because I go, relax. I've been doing this all the time. Don't worry. But when I worry, I'll let you know when we're supposed to worry.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. But again, like I think it's just I can't stress it enough. Like us documenting the marketing efforts, the conversations that we've had, the efforts that we have going into a week, and then coming out of the week, like how that went and what else we can type. I think that is so key right now. I think our clients aren't getting a lot of communication, and it's really tasking as a seller when you just go a week with no communication, no showings, no anything, right? Our sellers only have two metrics that they can see, right? Like showings and offers. And if they
Yeah.
don't have any of that, it's easy to think like, Amy didn't do anything on my house this week. It's like, well, no, I did dot, 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 dot. That kind of earns you the conversation of like, look, I've tried everything, it's price, or we got to get this conditional thing fixed or whatever. So
Yeah.
I know with my listings this year, I kind of implemented a weekly communication guarantee or whatever, but just a Zoom call, an hour-long Zoom call with my sellers every single week, and that's been really helpful. And I think at times where they've gotten frustrated, it's helped me manage that. I think at
Yeah.
times when it's helped me kind of manage price reduction conversations because what I'm seeing in the market. So I would definitely encourage any entrepreneur to get really communicative with their client base and really get good at documenting what they're doing and expressing that to the client. I think that's going to be huge.
Yeah, because they're going to do they're if they have family or somebody, they're going to get around and talk about the fear and all the stuff that's going on in the world right now. And right now we're seeing, and Alaska's different. There's not enough houses on the market, but in Texas, we're seeing where houses are setting on their market, and there's a lot of sellers, not enough buyers. Like we're seeing that, and so communication is key because they're going through, a difficult time, and so the
Absolutely.
communication is good. And seeing comps on it and showing where the comps are and how much the market's coming down, so they're aware of that because you might want to reduce your price quicker, to before the market shifts again. Because
Yeah,
you're
or
going
like, hey, when we hit the market, that house and that house were higher than you. They've lowered price. Now they're lower than you. What do you want to do, right? I mean,
yeah.
they need to know what's going on for sure. What kind of viewership online you're getting, how the marketing efforts on your distribution platform, social media, whatever that is, uh, how that stuff's going. So yeah, get really good at communicating that stuff. I think that's a big advantage that we have over some of the online platforms. A lot of those guys, they're going to have like a set thing. We're going to put your house online. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to put it online. We're going to hope it sells. So for us as realtors, I think there's a couple of things that we can do differently. Like you can lean on your relationships. You can lean on your sales experience. You can do a lot of things after the house hits the market to generate activity with it that those online platforms aren't doing. So I think that's going to be a big important thing that us realtors get good at doing, or any entrepreneur gets really good at doing, because every space is becoming more and more automated for sure.
Yeah. I like that you do that. And it's also a good way to track what you're doing and know when something doesn't work. Because there's no point to keep doing something if it's not working. And a lot of times it's just changing and, having just starting to think of like, what could I do different? You know, because, all you can do is what you can do and just keep trying to make something better. And we just know sometimes the market shifts. It's the way it is. And sometimes you can make something look nicer and sometimes, you can't. You can just do what you can
But
do.
yeah, and the nice thing about the weekly conversation with your clients is it also holds you as a realtor accountable to, what am I going to do this week? Am I going to reverse prospect and just call everybody who I'm in a search with? Am I going to do an open house? Am I going to call every realtor in the top 100 I know and pitch the house to them? Am I going to do ads on Insta or Facebook? Am I going to, what am I going to do to push the house this week? And so it kind of holds you accountable to like, I'm meeting with the seller tomorrow. Okay, what did I do this week? So it kind of holds you accountable as an agent. So I think that's just like a really good exercise. So anybody who's not doing that, I highly recommend you start doing weekly meetings.
Yeah, but also you got to think about who your client is, who's looking for that house. It's not everybody. It's not all your friends that you're hanging out with. Sometimes it is. Sometimes they know somebody or whatever, but it's, figuring out who are you looking for when you're advertising.
Absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
it's always good to tell everybody because that way people know that you're selling and everything. But, you got to figure out who is your client. And that's what you got to look for. Yeah. And that price
Absolutely.
range or whatever. And then who would want to buy that? And then that's what you go target. Yeah. So I guess, not to stay on here too much longer, but so Greg, is there anything that you would say that I guess like a big lesson you ever learned in real estate, or is there some, big thing that you want to share that for
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
out there that a lesson you
Yeah.
learned?
So much. So much.
Yeah.
To me, I think one of the biggest things is uh, we're in a broker business where we broker deals. We get paid to broker deals. That's where the money is. That's where we get paid. The commissions are pretty big. The market share could be a little bit smaller. I think the notion of passive income through real estate. I think people need to kind of dissuade themselves of that. I think people need to focus on the sales, close as many houses as possible. I think people get very caught up in what they think their net is going to be versus their, what they're going to make off deals. Oh, this place is more expensive than this place, or this place, whatever. Or I can recruit people to my company, and that's going to set up some level of profit share or downline that I never have to sell again. Like, that's not a thing. That's never a thing. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
Like, the money's in the sales, the money's in the building the database, the money's in continuing to build those relationships. So I think it's really important that people kind of just really realize, like, I really think the closer you get to the truth, the more simpler things get. It's not complicated, right? And so work really hard, get really good at the craft, continue to build relationships. And I think just the idea of like, hey, I'm going to set this thing up and I'm going to get paid like crazy and I never have to work. I personally don't really think that exists. So
Right.
even with rental properties that create income, that's still not really passive, to be honest with you. So I just think people need to get rid of
For sure.
people need to get rid of the idea of like free money and just like roll up your sleeves and get to work is what I would recommend. And I had that mentality
Chasing
going
the
in,
easy.
honestly.
There's no easy. I mean, we were designed to work. Go find something you love to do. If you don't like it, don't do it. Get out. Don't just go do it because everybody wants you doing it. And I try to tell people that all the time. Like, when I get up in the morning, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to work. I mean, I feel that way. And you know what? If I don't always feel that way, check myself, because sometimes you got to fire a client. And it could be like, you don't go say you're fired. It could be like, I think you'll be a better fit with this other person, and it is okay to refer out. It does not make you a bad person. I think that sometimes that some people are just not good for us and they drain us in life, period. So sometimes we're just not a good fit, and recognizing that and taking it off your plate so you are living a happy life. Would you agree with that, Greg?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really difficult to.
Oh no, I lost him again. I'm always like, so Greg, you agree with that? I don't know. Do you think he'd ever tell me no? I do think too, while we're waiting on him for a minute here, it's like, I learned as a new agent, every 100 leads you get, like, so let's say if you got 100 leads, well, 100 leads, if you close one, you could close one deal even if you suck. So I used to just focus on, I got to get 100 leads, got to get 100 leads so I can at least close one deal. And when I started doing that, oh my God, it just snowballed and I had so many leads. And so focusing on big numbers, and just also the other thing I would say too, when I was a newer agent, is you can't just go, oh, I got 3 deals and that's enough, because I've literally multiple times in my career where I've had 3 deals all fall apart at the same time. Like they just, something happened, whether it's the financing, somebody got divorced, somebody died. I mean, I knew a realtor. He literally had 3 clients, and every one of them clients passed away. Like it just happens. It's a weird thing, but it can happen. That's never happened to me in that way, but it has. And so you got to have enough business coming in where it's going to feed you. So you can't just go, oh, I got one deal, that's enough, because it's never enough. By the time you pay the brokerages and marketing and all the things that you have to pay, you still got to, have enough money to, pay for yourself. But I'm not sure Greg's going to be able to come back on because something happened. But I want to tell you that I do appreciate Greg being on, giving us so many nuggets and really things to think about as real estate agents, and also for the consumer. Here's the thing is that you want to find a good realtor who is going to fight for you, and he's going to negotiate, and also knows the laws and going to treat you right. So and you want a realtor who's going to be a team player, somebody that you can be vulnerable, and if you have a problem, you can tell them. Okay, you really want to think about who you're choosing. It's not always Aunt Sally, or it could be, but you got to make sure that you have the conversation with them that we need to be a team, and I need to be able to tell you stuff without you getting your feelings hurt. Because here the thing is at the end of the day, and I tell my clients, tell me whatever, you're not hurting my feelings, because I'm not putting my emotions in this. Okay, we're going to just solve the problem. If you think I need to do something, let me know and we'll get it done. Okay, if there's a problem, we need something done or repaired, don't try to solve it yourself. Let me know, and because I might be able to solve it for you. Because as realtors, we go through and see things over and over again so many times that we can solve a lot of problems for you. So reach out, find you a trusted realtor. If you're in the greater Austin area, I'm your lady. If you're in Alaska, I'm also your lady. I also specialize in remote properties in Alaska also. For at least 15 years now. So you guys, and like Greg's in Colorado Springs and so many others, find you a good realtor. If you don't know one, message me. I will find you one and get you connected to the right person. You guys have an amazing day, and don't forget, 6 a.m. is prayer with me to pray for your spiritual, physical, financial goals. Also go to amybacon.com, and you can download for free the Spiritually, Physically, Financially Fit tracking sheet, so you can go over and do your morning reflections with me in the morning at 6 a.m. also. You guys have an amazing day, and I will see you guys tomorrow with Stephanie Gamble from Alaska, and we're going to be talking about the do's and don'ts of real estate, and also buying new construction. You guys have a good night.